Oh, yeah. Fish on. Yeah. Oh, my God. Good night. Look at that tank. That's a toad, brother. Golly.
What's going on? Happy New Year, sir.
Dude, I just sneezed so hard I think I pulled a muscle, bro. Like, for real. Guys, listen, got an exciting show for y'all tonight. Wherever you're watching from, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or whatever, share the stream. We've got some juicy stuff tonight. We're going to be talking about our new Knucklehead bass fishing series. We're going to talk about updates to the Catch 22 challenge. We're going to talk about the Ambassador Series Championship that has a $20,000 guaranteed team payout and a $5,000 individual payout. We're going to talk about the Trail Series kind of overview this year and the fact that we've got a $25,000 guarantee for the Trail Series Championship, $25,000 guarantee for the Challenge Series Championship, and then we've got the $50,000 guarantee carryover from the Pro Series that we did last year. We're going to settle it all in Clay County, Florida this year. And in Clay County, Florida, you basically could walk away with $100,000. Now, the Pro Series is locked based on what it took to qualify in 2022 out of respect for those folks that fished that series. But what we're going to do is we're going to allow 2 wild card exemptions. The winner of the Challenge Series Championship and the winner of the Trail Series Championship will move into the Pro Series Championship. So in theory, if you guys fished in the Pro Series last year and you don't want some outsider winning a wild card slot to come in there and compete with you for your 50 grand, then you just got to win the Challenge Series or Trail Series Championship this year, and then you don't have to worry about it. So we'll talk more about that at the end of the show. I'm really excited to get JT Fishing with Gramps on here to talk about our first community champ by Fishing with Gramps. Just wanted to give you guys an overview of what to expect in tonight's show. Yeah, so why don't we just get Gramps on here and let's do what we said we're going to do. We're going to shout out people in the community, you know, that may not be hoisting trophies, that might not be holding checks, that might not be, you know, that person that you know as a household name, but you really should, because they are doing the work that makes this community what it is. So, JT, welcome to the show. For those of you that don't know, and if you don't know, you should know, JT is the host of Fishing with Gramps on pretty much all the socials, but most notably YouTube. Just signed on to be the voice and the MC of the Grubby series, which is a grassroots bass yacking series out of Indiana. That's, in my opinion, is kind of the model for how to really engage the grassroots. KBF is a big supporter of that series and has been for a number of years. And so JT, welcome to the show, man. Listen, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. I'm even going to get my butt off the screen so that you can have the whole show and talk to us about your first community champ, if you will.
Well, Chad, thanks a lot for having me on. And I mean, when you came up with the idea of community champs, because, you know, we were talking about like Jeff Little being the KBF Sportsman of the Year, and we wanted something that we could go through and point out kind of our champions in the community around, you know, the socials and everything, but not just do it once a year at the national championship. So kudos to you first for coming up with this great idea. But I got to say, our first one, and I kind of, as soon as you said this, I was like, I have the perfect person in mind to kick off the very first community champ by Fishing with Gramps. And that is none other than Sam Jones. KBF, works for Chad, but also runs Who's Your Kayak Bassin. Sam does a phenomenal job, not just for KBF, but for the community here in Indiana. And the reason why he gets to be the first, the inaugural, the first one we do is because he puts in a lot of hard work every year to host what we call the Turkey Bowl. It's always late in the year, generally in November, leading up to Thanksgiving. And he holds a big tournament where guys team up, 3-man teams. The Freedom Squad was there with this year, and a lot of teams form up around from the state and all gather in one location. This year it was on Lake Monroe. It was hosted by the city of Bloomington. Sam did a phenomenal job of putting the Turkey Bowl together. But what it does, it's a way to raise funds and food for those communities, the families in need when they need it the most around the holidays. And Sam has been doing this for a few years. This year was my second one. And I couldn't not point out Sam Jones to be our first community champ for the work he does, not only for, the KBF community and all of the communities in Indiana around kayak bass fishing, but for putting together such a great event and hosting it, giving us one more chance before the ice kicks in and all that to get on the water together as a kayak fishing community. But yep, Sam Jones, Hoosier Kayak Bass Fishing, had to get the first shout out, have to be the first community award winner. So there you go.
Well, look, you're not going to get any argument from me. The only argument that you might have gotten is that we're so close to Sam here at Kayak Bass Fishing. He's the one that does the graphics. He's the one that's overhauling the website. He is all the things that you mentioned, but the dude also, coaches youth sports and youth basketball. I talked to him today and he was like, yeah, around my coaching, I'm going to be doing more of that and less tournament fishing this year. Just an all around good dude. Is probably guilty a lot of times of what I'm guilty of or have been guilty of in the past, is not saying no, right? He has a good heart and sometimes takes on more than he can handle and overwhelms himself and doesn't get stuff back to you as fast as he could because he's just too good of a dude and can't say no to people. And he's always working on too many. So he and I have made a pledge to each other. You keep me honest and I'll keep you honest so we can focus on doing the things that we can and not overcommitting. So Sam, love you, bro. I don't know of a more deserving person out there. But like JT said, the idea is to not just have a once a year, sportsman of the year that we named after, a really big mentor of mine and a good friend and a guy that's done a lot for this community in Heroes on the Water. And we'll talk about that again when we move into the Catch 22 conversation. But Sam did the Fish Ops logo. He did the Catch 22 logo. He's done most of the branding that you've seen and the changes and the way KBF works. And again, hats off to Sam. JT, thanks for pointing out a great angler. So guys, we're going to use the hashtag KBF community champs because there's a lot of community champs already out there and other things, but this way we know it's for kayak fishing. Use the hashtag KBF community champs. If you see somebody doing something good, just throw that hashtag in their comment section or something like that. That way we can see these people, we can look for them, and maybe some of the people that fly under the radar that we aren't as familiar with can get that recognition. And basically JT can search that hashtag and we can search that hashtag and go look for some of these people, that are the unsung heroes of really what makes this community.
Because we know there are people out there. I mean, we know there are people out there that are doing good. And, next one I got up is already, is already thought out. I got a couple already, but that's, I think it's a great thing. And all around the country, we know people are doing things for other people and let's highlight them. But for me, Sam Jones, after coming back, right after the KBF National Championship and just hosted a great event once again and did great work. So, yep. Congrats to Sam and keep up the great work, my man.
While we're still on the screen together, it looks like the scale's kind of tipping this way a little bit there, JT. So for those of you that are interested, head over to Fishing Chaos, click on the trail/club, kick on KBF, and you scroll down until you see a thing that's got a weight loss scale on it. And if you guys are interested, jump in on that weight loss challenge. Based on the number of entries we get, we're going to start throwing some prizes up. I'm going to give up a $100 Fish USA gift card right out of the gate for the top weight loss person at the end of the month based on percentage, because the folks at Fishing Chaos were kind enough to go reprogram that thing. The event looks like that right there. It's got a scale on it. It says weight loss challenge. Now, I want to say this. It's not like regular tournaments where you enter your photo and it automatically shows up. So when you enter it, just enter it one time and then we'll go in and approve it. And the reason that we did that, just so you guys know, is there's going to be a lot of fat. there's going to be a lot of fat naked dudes standing on scales, and we didn't want to inadvertent, trying to take a picture of the scales and get a little something else in the photos. So we're making sure that we screen all the photos. So once we get a month under our belt and we think that everything's good and the coast is clear, then those things will post automatically. But I think one guy yesterday submitted the same photo like 19 times. So I appreciate the fact that you really wanted your weight entered. Just enter it one time, and then we'll approve it in 24 hours, and your name will be up on the leaderboard. We're going to do a total.
And don't send us anything that only we're going to see, just to be a pain.
Exactly. If you enter a photo in there that's obscene, I'm going to send you back something 5 times as obscene. So be careful. So anyway, so we're doing that just for fun, and we're going to do some good prize giveaways and things like that. So we're going to weigh in every Wednesday. So get your photo in there now if you want between now and tomorrow. And then tomorrow, everybody will load a second photo. And then until they get all the bugs worked out, Fishing Chaos is going to go in and manually calculate the percentage. But by the end of the month, it'll be doing it automatically. And we're going to run this thing all through the year. We're going to do quarterly winners, monthly winners, quarterly winners, and then an overall winner. And I'm working on a really cool, like all expenses paid, like vacation type thing for the overall biggest loser. And so stay tuned for details for that. But we didn't want to wait till we had everything perfect. We just wanted to announce it, be in keeping with the New Year's resolution. So if you've got a few pounds to drop, jump in on our weight loss challenge. And the cool thing about it is it's a great way to keep yourself accountable,
Yeah, and there's going to be plenty of smack talking, and be sure to join in and tag me and Chad, if you're dropping more percentage than we are, because we're in this for the long run. I mean, we both have set goals by this time next year, and we want to be able to do more things and be less, we want to increase our weight capacity in our kayaks by we weighing less. So be sure to, if you want to kind of jump in for some fun, please, it's free to join. Hop in and let's get healthier together in 23.
So speaking of weight, let's get another fat boy in here and bring in the guy that we got in the green room, Mr. Gene, the Fluke Master Jensen. And so I gained a lot of weight back because of my divorce. I'm using that as an excuse. I'm going to go ahead and say, but Gene, what's your excuse, bro? Like, what happened?
Holidays. My wife and my in-laws love to party. I ate 3 Thanksgiving dinners, 3 Christmas dinners, and 2 New Year's dinners. And I just posted on the comments, I'm glad I gained those extra pounds this year.
I told him I was loading up before the actual 1st of January.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. Well, all right. So get your picture loaded if you haven't done so yet. And
I just entered it. So
jump in there. So guys, here's how we're doing it. You basically take a piece of paper and you write down the identifier code and you put it on the scales. That way we know you didn't take a picture from like 6 months ago. And it kind of works the way our online fishing tournaments work. So it's a good way to learn how to use the app. It's a good way to have some fun. And it's a good way to track your weight loss over the course of the year and hold yourself accountable. Because the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do a fallout report. So if you entered your fish or your feet, and then a month from now you don't keep entering, I'm going to basically do a download report, and I'm going to start, reaching out to people. Hey man, what happened to you? Did you give up? You're going in the wrong direction. So we're going to use this as almost like an accountability tool as well. Got a text message yesterday from a gentleman who said, hey man, what are you doing tomorrow? And is there any way I can jump on the road and head that way? And I was like, sure, but it's going to be raining all day and it's going to be ridiculous. And part of your prize is that you get a full day fishing trip. He's like, yeah, man, I know, but I had a couple of days off and I was looking at my calendar and I'm really antsy about getting the kayak. And so Chris Riley, who won the Catch 22 grand prize, which is the Old Town Autopilot 120, a Dakota Lithium 100 amp hour battery, a Black Pack Pro from Yak Attack, a couple of other Yak Attack accessories, and basically the prize package is over $5,000. I said, hey man, you could just come get it in the spring. You live in Pennsylvania, you're going to be frozen in all winter, but the idea of not having that kayak was burning a hole in his brain, kind of like when you're a young kid and you got a little bit of money, it's burning a hole in your pocket. So what's crazy is we kicked the Catch 22 back off. I didn't even promote it and looked at it, and it had like over 70 entries. I texted JT and said, dude, I can't believe I haven't even promoted this thing and it's got 70 entries. He's like, well, you might not have promoted it, but I did. And so I think it's up over 90 entries now. Last year, we only had, we had 453 entries in the course of the whole year. And we've got 90 in the first week of January. Now, we gave away almost $20,000 in prizes this year. We didn't promote it as much as we should. But this year, what I'm going to do is monthly prizes every month. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've already got 3 kayaks guaranteed, but I got to tell you about the grand prize. The grand prize is going to be a bona fide kayak with 2 graphs, a Sniper Marine active target, an active target system, a Torpedo 403 electric motor, and then Duke from Catch is building out all of these custom anodized parts to replace the pod with a pod delete, the front handle for mounting a bow mount with the logos engraved in it. The rear hatch cover on the Bonafide is going to be remade out of aluminum and powder coated with the logo laser, etched it. When it's all said and done, that prize package by itself, the kayak by itself, is going to be pushing $15,000. And I'm working on making that prize package even bigger. So if you guys haven't done so yet, go sign up for the Catch 22 Challenge. This year, we're doing it where it's just black bass for each state, and then the one overall black bass. Okay? The one overall any 22.
Yep,
the other change that we made, and so basically for the any 22, you can just have the picture holding the fish. You can have it laying on the ground. And when you enter it, you only enter the count. You just enter the number 1 each time. You don't have to keep up with what fish you are and add that number. Since it's a count tournament, you just put 1 each time you enter a fish. And then when you get to 22, it will show your top 22. But here's what I'm going to do also. Because it's Catch 22, the first person that can hit 484 inches on the Catch 22 Challenge, which means every fish you caught is over 22 inches. So the first person that can do that, 484 inches, that's 22 fish over 22 inches. You're going to fish free on me from KBF for the next 3 years. So that's
I've never even seen a 22-inch fish.
That's every challenge. That's every trail. That's every championship. That's anything you want to enter in KBF for 3 years. So it's 22 fish over 22 inches. Can somebody do it? Who the hell knows? But I'm throwing it out there. And every 22-inch fish every month, or 22 or bigger, every month I'm going to do a over 22 drawing as well. Yeah, exactly.
That was last year.
So it can be done. It can be done. If you've got a lake near you with a bunch of pet fish in it like Gene does, it can be done. So, again,
so what you're telling me is I need to return to my birth state and go fish with Gene.
Public water, public access, same rules. First person to 484 inches, you're going to fish free on me for 3 years. All right. So that's a challenge that I'm throwing out there. You have to be entered into the Catch 22 Challenge when you catch those. I'm sorry, that's black bass, guys. Good call, Blake, for pointing that out. 22 largemouth bass over 22 inches, not 22 like hammer handle pike. So for the black bass in one state, 22 fish over 22 inches, I'll pay your entry fees for 3 years. Okay. The other thing that we're doing is we're going to build out benefits of this participation in this series all year long. And my goal this year is over 22,000 fish. I sent you this screenshot, JT, but I didn't think we were really going to get there. And when we got to the end of the year, I told John Caligas from Fishing Chaos, I was like, man, I just really wish we would have hit the 22,000 fish. And he was like, how many did you get? I said, we got a little over 15,000. He's like, well, the last time I looked, you had 15,451 entries. And I was like, yeah. He goes, that's not fish. because if you set the leaderboard to calculate 22, once somebody gets past 22, those aren't entries anymore. So we got 325 fish in last year's Catch 22 challenge with 453 people. Are you kidding me? Like, I literally basically my face got flushed. I had goosebumps when I went in and hit that little swiper that said fish entries and went back to the homepage, and we got over 22,000 fish, which was the year one goal. So we were able to help Mission 22 at the Red Crest Expo raise over $4,500. And then, because we basically dedicated our booth last year at the Red Crest Expo to Mission 22, to raising donations and doing all that thing. And then when the proceeds were all said and done, based on entry fees at $22, and then our expenses for the coins, the shirts, and all that stuff that we bought as part of the Fish Shops brand this year, we came out with about $4,400. So I'm just going to round that up to $5,000. So we'll be sending a check for $5,000 to Mission 22 and helping them further what they do. Now, here's what Mission 22 does. Mission 22 does basically recovery assistance, and they do a lot of the stuff that's internal that we all need to deal with as veterans and people that are dealing with PTSD. We're not going to do Mission 22 again this year because we've done that, a big level of marketing and promotion. Those guys are phenomenal. It's not about whether or not they are deserving of it. It's more about something that's more near and dear to my heart. And since we mentioned Jim Dolan in the beginning and the organization that he founded, which is Heroes on the Water, we're going to focus on growing and building back up some of the chapters for Heroes on the Water, because Heroes on the Water truly gets anglers out on the water on a daily basis as much as they possibly can, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and uses kayak fishing as therapy. And the reason that we're switching to Heroes on the Water for this year is I truly believe that tangible connection with getting the anglers out on the water is just as beneficial to mental health as anything else is. But you can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. And so a lot of people feel more confident in making a donation or signing up for an event when they can see what it's doing. It's really hard to see what's going on in the head of a veteran who's going through counseling, who's winning those private battles, but we want to show it. But we also know that those guys are winning and those gals are winning. And the more that we can show it, the more we can motivate other people that are having those silent struggles to say, hey, I'd love to do that. And I'd like to reach out to find out if there's a Heroes on the Water chapter near me. And so we're going to switch our focus to Heroes on the Water this year. And that leads into the next thing that we're going to talk about. And that is why YouTube knuckleheads are on here. So everybody knows that I inadvertently named the fans, the followers, the people that fish, that watch my channel, that are on my community, by saying something about a knucklehead. Some clown or troll in my comment section said, I can't believe this guy calls his fans or followers stupid people, because he Googled the literal definition of knucklehead. And I was actually filming and wasn't checking my comments. The next thing you know, there's like 200 responses to that, where all the knuckleheads jumped in and go, nah, dude, you got it wrong. We're all knuckleheads. He's a knucklehead, blah, blah, blah. That's not an insult in this world. It's a term of endearment. So I followed that video up. And to make a long story short, now the word knucklehead is synonymous with pretty much, I see it on your comments, JT. I've seen it in Gene's comment section. It's almost become a kayak fishing community adaptation. Well, then I was like doing a video, and a person commented and said, I wish you would do something for us knucklehead bass fishermen that don't kayak fish, or we haven't gotten into it yet. And when they said that, the light bulb went off, because knucklehead bass fishing is KBF, just like kayak bass fishing is. And so we're launching a knucklehead bass fishing series, and there's the knucklehead brand that we launched. I can't believe how many people have walked up to me wearing Knucklehead shirts. I ran into a guy at the gas station in Huntsville the other day. I had a guy flag me down on the interstate waving his Knucklehead hat. And so what Knucklehead is it's the community brand for KBF. It's the community brand for Fish Ops. And what Fish Ops is Fish Ops is KBF's community outreach and charity arm. So we're going to keep building that, donating at least 25% of everything we do, so that over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, we can turn both Fish Ops and KBF into a B Corp. So we can truly go out there and have the benefit of being charity based, but without being a not-for-profit, because there's so many rules and restrictions and things you can't do with a not-for-profit. But I really felt moved to turn what we've created into something that does something for charity and something for good, but be able to manage it instead of having 1,000 solicitations a month for all these different causes that are really hard to, I can't say yes to everything, you know? And so I'm very passionate about veterans causes and what I also like to call homeland heroes. I've always had respect for doctors and nurses and fire, police, military, you know, all your first responders. I was an EMT as part of my job in the Navy as a combat SAR, you know, rescue swimmer guy. And I got to do the ride-alongs and see what EMTs and paramedics go through. And I'm like, man, these guys are on the battlefield as much as we are. And so with that, we're going to launch a Knucklehead bass fishing series. These two guys that are on the screen over here, down here, are the inaugural 2 members of the Knucklehead bass fishing. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version of it. We're going to run 4 month-long challenges. We wanted to have a really low barrier to entry fee. So we settled on $15. The guys that are running the challenges, so Gene will run his, JT will run his. We're going to bring some other YouTubers in. We'll make the money off of the entry fees, but we'll put up prizes from their sponsors. So that way we don't have to get into W-9s and all that crazy stuff that I have to do with KBF that just really sucks the fun out of it, that makes it, you know, crazy. But KBF is going to put up $10,000 guaranteed for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Championship, which we're going to call the Hero Cup. The Hero Cup is going to be a big trophy that Duke is going to make from Catch, and it's going to have all the service logos on it, all the logos for fire, military, police, public servants, and all that. And the way it'll work is the YouTuber that wins or the influencer that wins the Hero Cup will get the Hero Trophy, and then the team members on his team will take home the individual smaller trophies. So like,
let's back up. You passed the wagon before and got to the horse.
Okay, cool.
So the way we're going to do it is each of us are going to hold our own tournament of our subscribers, our fans, whatever, whoever signs up. You can sign up for any of us or all of us, and it's going to be run through Fishing Chaos. And the winner of each month becomes part of the championship team. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ted. That's right.
Yes. So now I did put the cart before the horse. So let me back up a little bit. So we're going to run 4 months of challenges. Gene and I are going to start in February. So we're going to do February, March, April, May. And then JT is going to start in April, do April, May, June, July. We actually do have one more YouTuber that has committed. Daryl from Wendell Fishing has committed. He wants to do May, June, July, August. And then JT, I think you've got somebody you want to call out tonight, but we'll get to that towards the end. And then the idea is that we use social media and we use all of our collective influence to raise awareness for the charities that we're supporting, to raise awareness for good. So what I'm committing to is 25% of my entry fees off the top are going to go to Heroes on the Water. There's 2 ways that money can go to Heroes on the Water. And I've talked to them about this. Either I write them a check for the cash, or I go to one of my sponsors and say, hey, for this much cash, how many kayaks, paddles, and PFDs can I get so that those dollars potentially go further to get those kayaks and paddles and PFDs to the chapters so that they can get more veterans' butts and boats and get those guys out on the water. So that's what I'm committing to for mine. Each YouTuber can choose whatever charity, and it doesn't have to be a veterans cause. It can be a community service cause. It can be, for pediatrics, it can be Meals on Wheels. It can be whatever you want. But the idea is that you pick a cause that you're passionate about, yep, and you promote it. So, and I'm leaving it up to each individual YouTuber to say, hey, if I'm going to dedicate all my time to this, I need a little bit more of that revenue or less of that revenue. But what we all can do also is go to all of our sponsors and say, hey, I just got $1,000 in entry fees above and beyond my contribution to Heroes on the Water. What can I get in product? And most of them are going to give us a 40% discount, sometimes a 50% discount. And then for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to build out the next challenge even bigger, and then the next challenge even bigger. And so here's how we're going to work the prizes. The person that wins the challenge competitively, you have to have a catch board, you have to follow the rules, you have to do all that, is the person that wins their way onto our team. So 4 people on the team plus the YouTuber. So there'll be Gene plus 4 people, me plus 4 people, JT plus 4 people. And when you guys come to Huntsville, Alabama, Veterans Day weekend, we're going to fish Wheeler Lake and Guntersville Lake, and you win the event. The YouTuber wins the trophy. They make their money along the way, but the 4 members of the team split the money for the prize purse, $2,500 a piece. That's if we stay at 10,000. Because the other thing that I'm committing to is once the $10,000 is met and I kind of get back my guarantee, I'm going to put up 20% of however much comes through the Chad Hoover Teen Challenge back into the pot to grow out a second, third, 4th place, so that every team that comes has the potential to take home some money. So we're going to run this through the end of August. All the YouTubers have to be done by the end of August. We're going to take off September. And then in October, if you didn't win your way onto one of the teams, you can do a fan fish off. And the fan fish off is basically going to be, if you enter a 5-fish limit in the fan fish off, you then qualify to come to the fan fish off in Huntsville. Now, here's the part where it gets a little complicated, but you guys just got to pay attention and follow along with me. If you qualified anywhere along the way in any of the knucklehead events by catching a 5-fish limit, again, we wanted the bar to be relatively low so anybody can qualify. You're qualified for the fan fish off. If you don't win your way onto one of the teams, you can come to the fan fish off. It's going to be the Friday of Veterans Day weekend, and you're going to fish for 1 day on Wheeler and Guntersville. The top 5 anglers in that event form a new team and move into the championship or the Hero Cup with Gene and his team and JT and his team and me and my team. And we're going to take 50% of that pot. We're going to have a small entry fee, somewhere between $25 and $50, and add that to the payout for the Hero Cup for the winning team. But 50% will be paid out to those top 5 that work their way into the team championship. So it's going to be team-based. You're going to be fishing for the YouTuber whose team you win your way on and against the YouTuber that you're not fishing for. So some of you guys might like us all and you want to enter all of them, so you got a better chance to win. But what I'm going to do for mine, and I think, Gene, you're already doing the same thing. I see you wearing the Bonafide shirt, is I'm going to put up a kayak. So over the course of the 4 months, everybody that enters a 5-fish limit is going to be entered into a drawing for the kayak. You don't have to win. You just have to catch, 5 fish in any single month. And then you're going to be entered into an equal chance of winning that kayak. Now, what I'm going to do is based on the number of entries I get and how much buy-in we get with that 20% that I talked about that I'm going to add back, I'm just going to go buy prizes, and I might add a second kayak or a third kayak or a 4th kayak. And Gene's honestly probably going to kick all of our butts just because he's got a much bigger following. But I think JT's probably got the most loyal following because, it's kind of like he's only got a face like a mother loves. So pretty much the guys that follow him also must just love him. And then we're going to bring in some clowns into this scenario that's really going to shake things up. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be fun. But the idea is that we created a low barrier to entry, low entry fee, fun challenge that you can fish from the bank or the kayak. Now, we're not having a bank category and a kayak category. We're just doing one big series. And of course, for the chance to win the way onto the team, we want the guys that are fishing out of kayaks already if we can. But you could go out there and win it from the bank, win yourself into the series, put you in a kayak, and then go out there and help Team Chad bring home the Hero Cup, because it'll look really good right here in all the videos. And now I'm going to stand by and honor whatever the off limits period is for all the YouTubers, even though I live here. I just don't think there's a better location in the country for the first one for Veterans Day weekend than Huntsville. We've got a huge military presence here. We got Lake Guntersville. It's far enough south that we ain't got to worry about having snow or ice or any of that stuff for Veterans Day weekend. And it's a really great place to have fish camp at the same time, which fish camp stands for camaraderie and mentoring program. So the real cool thing is we're going to invite all you knuckleheads for the Sunday after the cup is over for seminars and meet and greet and get together with all of us and all of the YouTubers slash influencers that join in on this whole
party.
It's a party, basically.
It's going to be a party.
And there's going to be a smoker there, even though we're in a weight loss contest.
Yeah, but it's going to be carnivore friendly, so it'll be good, and we'll finish out the year. And then I've already got a number of vendors that have agreed to show up. I've got some of the services that have agreed to come set up a booth to represent their service. I want to start trying to get some of the local colleges and even some of the high school fishing teams to come out. But we've got a huge, great venue here in Huntsville at Ditto Landing. All of this is going to be based out of Ditto Landing for probably the next 2, maybe even 3 years. And then ultimately the goal is if we grow this thing big enough, we can take it other places. But Ditto Landing has got huge amounts of space. I actually talked to the executive director today, and she told me that, and Gene's familiar with this. Gene, you know that big field right across from where my camper's at? Mm-hmm. So basically they're going to cut that out with a row and put little slots in it for primitive camping. So if you want to come down and camp for fish camp, we're going to have a massive amount of camping that's available. We're going to have the campground itself that's available, a couple of pavilions with seminars going on. And then basically what we're going to do is Gene and I've got a little lake across the river that was kind of like part of the KBF headquarters relocation here, is that we got access to this lake to use that lake for veterans therapy and rehabilitation. But I'm going to say that the winning team of the whole thing gets to go over and fish with Gene and I and whoever of the other YouTubers that want to come along for a day of laying the smackdown on Hero Lake. So
there's only 3 people that have a key to that gate.
Exactly. And that lake is going to be, we're pulling out bass under 12 inches. We're doing, kids fishing trips over there to get some of the small fish out. And then I'm working with American Sport Fishing, which is here in Alabama, to come do the shocking assessment and start stocking that thing. And I'm personally going to invest some money into making that place the ultimate playground for taking veterans out fishing. So one thing I wanted to talk about real fast before we move into the other stuff is JT has connected me with his brother, Jeremy. He came down for the event, and Jeremy has agreed to start judging for kayak bass fishing and start helping me out. And one of the things that I wanted to do, moving forward, is to utilize judges that are basically veterans that are either actively disabled or, disabled and not active, that can live vicariously by, helping score fish, make a little extra money and things along those lines. So if you're interested in judging for KBF and you're a veteran, reach out to me, because what we're doing is I'm going to change fish from being judged to being vetted. So that's going to be VET''D. And so from as soon as we can get this fully in place, I want to do as much of the judging as possible with people who already have demonstrated an ability to have a keen eye, pay attention to detail, and things along those lines. And so I've been developing a new kind of overall judging standard and a course that I can take these veterans through on what they're looking for. So I'm going to do one-on-one Zoom call, do a training of what you're looking for, all that kind of stuff. So if you're a veteran, you're looking to make a little extra money on the side, shoot me a text. My number's 757-348-2232. If you don't want to shoot me a text, my email is kayakbassfishing@gmail. Shoot me an email. Text is easier, but I will get back with you and set up a time for a call. We can talk through what the compensation is, what the expectations are. I can set up the training call and we'll go from there. But I really want to turn our veteran force out there into the force that's scoring these fish. Because if we get to the point where this knucklehead thing takes off or the catch-22 thing takes off, like, I'll be straight up honest with you guys and fall on the sword. I gave up scoring fish on the catch-22 challenge this year, because imagine trying to score 22,000 freaking fish. Every time I would open up the scoring portal, there was another 250 fish. And so this year we're going to start early and try to stay on top of it. The 484 will all have to be officially scored fish. Though you can't put 22 inches and I go in there and look at it and it's 21 and a quarter, right? So to get
Let me jump on that real quick, because you made a point. For those of you guys, and encourage all your bank fishing friends to get in on this, because this is a great way for them to win a nice fishing kayak and join us on the water. But if they don't have a catch board, have them go to kayakbassfishing.com, become a member, and then when you get that $25 Fish USA discount card, you can go to Fish USA, get your catch board for like $7-8. And so this way everybody has the board they need and gets them so they can measure their fish and get an official upload.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm trying to work out a separate deal also with Catch, to where we can do a specific Catch deal on the Catch X or something like that. And I'm also trying to do a Catch-22 edition board that'll be fun, and some people may want to buy that one.
Just gonna make me buy another one, ain't you?
If we do the Catch-22 board, then Duke's going to donate a certain percentage of that to Heroes on the Water. So working on some of those things on the side. But I do want to talk about one more thing on the Catch-22 challenge before we move on. We basically got behind on fulfilling the dog tags this year, so I had to do a workaround. Then what happened also is a lot of people waited to the end of the year, so we had like 200-300 dog tags early on in the year, and they were just nothing happening, and then everybody hit 22 damn near at one time, right? Or a bunch of people went in there late and loaded fish, and so we ran out of dog tags. We've placed another order. As soon as they come in, those are being fulfilled. But to make things easier, my mindset was last year that I don't want to do the participation trophy, meaning you had to catch the 22 fish before you got the dog tag. But that turned into such a administrative pain in the butt, and people would get their 22 and we hadn't run the report yet. And then they're sitting there going, okay, when's my dog tag going to show up? So what we're doing this year is when you sign up, and again, we're waiting on new dog tags to come in. So as soon as we get them, all of the people that have already signed up will be processed. But this year, the minute you sign up, we're going to ship you the dog tag. That way you can throw it in the photos for the rest of your fish. It can also serve almost like a little bit of an identifier, if you will. And then you're going to get a dog tag per ticket. So if you enter multiple states, you'll get multiple dog tags. If you enter the any 22 nationwide and you enter the Black Bass Georgia, for example, you're going to get a dog tag per ticket. And then I'm running the numbers on trying to get a shirt made that's like a Catch-22 shirt that you get either a discount on, or you get it when you sign up, like we did with the Catch 5 last year. So working on a bunch of that stuff. I'm really trying to keep it lean so more of the money can go to the cause. But just alone last year, we did almost $20,000 in giveaways. Like I said, Chris Riley, who was the grand prize winner, is on his way down right now. I'm going to meet him for dinner when we're done. He's going to come over here and pick up the kayak in the morning. And then he's just going to come back in the spring and do his trip, since it was pretty much tornado weather and pouring down rain all day today. Like, all the places that I fish this time of year are all mudded out or flooded. And I told him, I said, look, we could go try to fish, but it would probably be like pulling teeth to try to catch a fish tomorrow when it rained like an inch and a half today and pretty much was tornado warnings until 10 o'clock tonight. So I've already got Old Town back on board for next year, Bonafide on board for next year. I'm working on Hobie, trying to get them on board. New Canoe has contributed a unlimited. So we'll be giving away an unlimited, a bona fide, the big bona fide, like the decked out 15K one, Sholey from Crescent, and a River 119. So 2 kayaks from Bonafide and at least one from all the other manufacturers. And then the goal is to try to get more product support based on the number of entries. You know, we hit that 1,000 entry mark. I'm going back to every sponsor and going, hey, look, we're killing it right now. This is for charity. Bada boom, bada bing. And we put
I'll make sure we got at least one motor guide in that if we can get 1,000 entries. That's an easy one.
There we go. And I actually am going to add a Torpedo to that first boat, but I can probably also twist their arm a little bit and do a standalone Torpedo without the boat, just a giveaway of an 1103. No, I'll just say it. And even if I got to buy the damn thing, we'll add a Torpedo 1103, which is $2,600 to the Catch 22. So right now we're looking at over $20,000 already when we finished out last year with about $20,000. And if you think about giving away $20,000 in prizes to 453 entries, that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like that's a good, and for $22, of which a significant portion of that went to charity, that's a really big deal. So I'm excited about it.
You're talking about for the Catch 22 or for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing
Catch 22 for the Catch 22.
Catch 22. Okay.
Right now for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing, it's a $10,000 guarantee. I'm guaranteeing a $500 stipend for each of my team members in Fish USA gift cards to outfit themselves to come make sure we're going to win the deal. And you knuckleheads can do whatever you want. Just so you guys know, the series is up on Fishing Chaos. You do have to be a KBF member to fish in this, but you don't have to be a paid member. You can just be a free member. Like JT said, you can join as an ambassador and pretty much get your measuring board, you know, almost for free. I think you got to pay shipping and like $3 or $4. But if you want to fish and be competitive, you have to have a catch board. If you already got one, great. If you don't, make sure you get one. But you don't have to be a paid KBF member to compete in the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series. But you do have to at least be a free member. That way you're covered under our insurance. I've got you in the system. If we pick you as a winner, we have your stuff in the system and you're at least registered. And it makes it easy for us to track. Somebody wins something and we can't reach out to them because we don't have a phone number. We don't have an email address. We had a guy this year in my YouTube video giveaway series lose out on a pair of Wiley X's and a $1,200 power box from Dakota Lithium because he didn't register as a free KBF member. I had no way of contacting him. I put it out on 2 live streams in a row. I put it in the comments section, contact me. I messaged his YouTube account, never got a response. So again, if you guys sign up even for the free membership, I have a way to contact you. And I like calling people and saying, hey, congratulations, you won, versus just putting it on a live stream. So, and it was kind of funny. This guy, Chris, I texted him because I called and he didn't answer. I said, hey, Chris, this is Chad. You won. This is Chad from KBF. Give me a call when you can. And I'm going to tell you, this is hilarious and exactly why we did Catch 22. He said, if you don't mind, can you remind me what KBF is? And I said, kayak bass fishing. He said, oh. I said, yeah, you entered the Catch 22 challenge, right? Because I wanted to make sure I had the right person. He said, oh, yeah, man, I signed up for that. I'm a veteran. Sorry, I didn't know what KBF meant or who you were. And I'm like, no, that's actually perfect. That's why we did it. And so it just shows that the reach of the Catch 22 thing is beyond what we've already established with what we're doing with KBF. And I think we can 10X it this year if we do it right. You know, I had my head in the sand a lot of this year trying to deal with my own personal crap and my crises and resetting up a new household in a travel trailer in Alabama and going through a divorce. And, you know, I did the road trip this year attempting to catch 22 fish in 22 states. I will say that I failed to complete the 22 states, but I'm not going to say I failed on getting out of the challenge what I should have gotten, because I ended up finishing up 14 states. I only needed 5 more fish to finish Georgia, and I was never even able to make it back over there. So that would have put me, you know, 1 more state. I didn't even get to do Indiana. This is the only year in like recorded history that I haven't gone to Indiana and laid the smackdown on fish, because I wrote half of my book was in Indiana. Until all you knuckleheads started kayak fishing there, that was my little secret spot to go fishing, because there's all these little borrow pits and strip mines and all this stuff that nobody knows about. And now y'all have all blown it up, and every lake has got 35 kayak tournaments on it. So it's not quite the same, but I didn't even get to go to Indiana this year. So, but what I did get to do is I did get to travel around the country. I went to 24 of the 27 graves of people that I lost, that I personally lost while I was on active duty, that were in my units or really close friends of mine. And part of what hit me hard this year is I started doing this discovery process where I was finding people who meant something to me and just calling them and saying, hey, I don't want anything from you other than to say, I wish I wouldn't have lost contact. I miss hanging out with you or talking to you. Let's reconnect. And 5 or 6 times, well, 5 times, and then one other time was a little bit different story, but 5 times I went onto Facebook, looked up an old friend, messaged them. They didn't respond, went back to their friends list, went down, messaged somebody in their friends list that looked like a daughter or a wife or somebody with the same last name. You know what I mean? And 5 times I got responses that said, hey, Chad, I'm not sure if you know this, but Daddy, took his own life 3 years ago. I was like, whew. And so that just kept happening. So every time it happened, I felt like I stepped on a landmine. And then I came across the 6th friend was in a coma, who had been in a coma from an attempted suicide that went wrong. But I also just ran into so many freaking people that were like, hey, man, what you do makes a difference. Hey, bro, what you do makes a difference. So when I was basically saying, hey, God, am I supposed to be doing what I'm doing? Every time I needed the shot in the arm, I got it. Every time I needed that wind in the sails, I got it. And so I'm rolling into 23 with the most momentum that I ever can, that I've ever had. I've said this internally, joking around, that 23 is for me kind of like the 23andMe thing, because I've got to focus on getting myself as good as I can be before I can be anything for anybody else. So I'm doubling down this year. I'm going back to doing guided trips. I'm doing a lot of that stuff to just reinvest back in myself and connecting with people and doing the things that I truly love so that I can be better, for all the things that I've been blessed with the opportunity to do in this sport. So I want to talk about the Ambassador Series Championship. And I want to jump into the guide service thing for just a minute, because that knucklehead down there is also jumping in and doing the same thing. And it's not just about making money, but it's about getting back to that grassroots connection, that one-on-one connection, and taking anglers out and fishing and creating content, but also generating some income so that we can walk away from some of the crap that we have to do as sponsored anglers to focus more on this stuff that I honestly love to do and doesn't feel like work to me, So the Ambassador Series Championship is going to be here in Huntsville on Guntersville and Wheeler Lake. Huntsville is uniquely positioned right in the middle. It's on the Tennessee River. If you go west, you're going to Huntsville, or you're going to Decatur and Wheeler. If you go east, you're going to Gunter, or kind of southeast, northwest, but you guys can look at a map and figure it out. Wheeler Lake and Guntersville. 4-person teams. It's the 4x4 format. Any person that is in any Ambassador Series club across the country can sign up. If you want to sign up as an individual, it's a $200 entry fee, and there's a guaranteed $5,000 first place. But if you sign up as a team, it's a $200 entry fee for all 4 people. So it's basically $50 per person, and it's a $20,000 guaranteed first place team. It's 1 day, 4 fish, the best 4 fish that you can catch, with each team member contributing 1 fish. So it's you and your 3 teammates, the best 4 fish you can catch.
What's the date again, Chad?
March 18th.
The day after St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, sir. And so again, $20,000 to the top team. Now, here's the caveat. If you sign up and fish as an individual, we're going to do $5,000 and we're going to pay out 10% just like we do on the KBF payout. And so we're going to supplement the payout from whatever it hits based on the payout chart up to $5,000. And then the same thing on the team. So there will be multiple place payouts once we fill out the field with the right amount of teams, and the payout chart is linked up in the event page. But the idea behind this is to create a camaraderie-based event that's team-based, incentivize the hell out of fishing as a team, but still allow you to fish as an individual if you want to. If you sign up as a team, all 4 of your team members are automatically fishing for the individual, but not the other way around. So I actually had a person ask me 2-3 days ago, why would I sign up as an individual? I said, because you can't find 3 friends. They're like, no, but I mean, why would I even consider signing up as an individual? I said, because you can't find 3 friends. Like, to me, it's kind of stupid to sign up as an individual, but the option is there so that we can build the series. Now, here's the caveat to this thing and why it's juicy. It's going to be relatively the same time frame, plus or minus a week, and it's going to be the same location and boundaries as the 2024 National Championship. So you're getting an opportunity to come pre-fish the same location, the same water, the same conditions, and the same basic time as the National Championship and its location in 2024. So just wanted to get that out there. The people have been asking, hey, what's the date? Hey, what's this? Hey, what's that? $20,000 guaranteed first place. I've had people contact me and go, hey, so if we're fishing as a team and we all go in, but the individual wins, can we decide to split up the 25 equally? I'm like, listen, y'all can do whatever the hell you want to. I'm going to hand the person with the biggest 5-fish limit as an individual a check for $5,000. And then I'm going to hand the biggest 4-person team a check for $20,000. And y'all can divide that up however the heck you want to. You know what I'm saying? I am not going to divide up the payment unless you say divide up the payment. There's a captain that signs up for the team, and then they add their other people. So in theory, my goal is to pay out the captain and let them take care of the other part. But if you say, hey, we want to divide it up equally, that way we can do it for tax purposes and W-9s and all, we can do that too. You know what I'm saying? But an ambassador club with 100 members can send 20 teams if they want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a free-for-all this year. Once we have this year out of the way for the first Ambassador Series Championship, the Ambassador Series Championship will be next year at the same time as well. Because the way we're going to do the Ambassador Series Championship moving forward is we're going to do the National Championship Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to cut to the top 100 on Thursday like we've always done. And then Saturday, we're going to run the Ambassador Series Championship just like we're doing this year for a team fish-off. And then we're going to have the award ceremony for the Ambassador Series Championship and the National Championship and a big-ass party Saturday night. And then you can get up Sunday and drive home. But instead of getting up and scrambling like we did this year to try to put an award ceremony together, finalize all the judging, do all that kind of stuff, doing an 11 o'clock award ceremony that nobody's at because a lot of people went home if they didn't. We want to have as many people as there as possible, give you something to do Saturday instead of sitting around waiting on the award ceremony. Go out and have a chance at winning $20,000. We'll announce the top team, do the team drawing, and then we'll roll into the National Championship award ceremony. So that way we've got an audience. These people that win this event deserve it, and that's the best way we can do it. That's why we're moving the National Championship back to the spring. That's why we're moving the Trail Series and Challenge Series Championship away from it. So you'll have your Challenge Series and Trail Series Championship in the fall so we can lock in the 10, of which that guy, by the way, is an alumni now and will be competing this year. He flat out told me 2 years ago his goal was to make the 10, and he didn't fish enough that first year to even really qualify. And then he literally told me at the end of that year, I'm going to be in the 10 next year. Find yourself a new co-host. Because he actually co-hosted the 10 with me. So he flat out called it and said, I'll be in the 10 next year. And he said, and once I make the 10, I'm probably done tournament fishing. I just wanted to go tournament fishing to prove to all of these people who talk smack that YouTube.
No, just to prove to myself.
Yeah, that's what he's telling you guys publicly. He also told me, yeah, all these naysayers that talk smack about YouTubers can't fish, I'm about to go out there and show them. So he won some events. He was always in the mix, finished second in the Angler of the Year standing. So all you guys out there that ever say, oh, Fluke Master can talk about fishing, but he can't do it. Well, guess what? He went out and proved it. And now he's got a chance to go out there and win the 10 and put that, thing on the mantle. And so again, after that, though, he's basically told me, look, after that, I'm going to go back to doing what I did before. I'll help you out with emceeing if you want it. We'll do some guided trips. We'll teach these knuckleheads how to fish. And then, of course, we come up with this knucklehead bass fishing idea. And so now he's back in the mix, but fishing as a team captain for a 5-person team, 5 fish limit, 1 day, $10,000 guaranteed. And like I said, we're going to grow that.
Easy money.
I'm going to donate 20% of the people that enter my series to that payout after I get the $10,000 covered back. If that makes sense. So, yes, that's it. That's where we're at. Okay.
Easy money, Chad. Easy money. Y'all make it too easy on me.
Oh my gosh. So, but the thing about it is you still got to carry 4 fans. And I think all your fans are like 13 to 17 and a half.
I can teach anybody how to fish.
He just proved it at the national championship.
All right. So JT,
Georgia AOY is who?
I challenged
rookie of the year. Wait a second.
So JT, I challenged you to call somebody out, but I think you kind of already did it. But can you reiterate the other YouTuber that you're calling out for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series?
Yep, I'm going to get Mr. Alex Rudd in the mix to cover the Tennessee area. Another fishing YouTuber who fishes from a kayak quite a bit and does a little competition and fishes from a boat. But Alex Rudd, the crankbait master, that's right.
So any of you guys are, if any of you guys are also fans or followers or subscribers or whatever you want to call it to Mr. Rudd, y'all go light up his comment section on his Instagram and his YouTube that basically says you just got called out by JT for the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series. And I called out Wendell Fishing. He already accepted, so I've already added him to the deal. So Wendell Fishing, I actually like his content a lot because he does a really good job of covering some of the DIY stuff, some of the fishing hacks. I also like the fact that he's a lot like me in that he doesn't sugarcoat stuff and he doesn't pull punches. So if there's something that needs to be said, he just says it. He actually went out and bought a Bonafide the other day, sent me a picture, says, hey, I just joined the dark side and all this other crazy stuff. So Wendell Fishing, his series is going to kick off May because he lives up in the Arctic, Ohio. So he's going to do May, June, July, August. Gene and I are going to kick off February. Again, for my challenge series and Gene's challenge series, everybody that enters a 5-fish limit is automatically entered into a chance to win a kayak at the end of the series. JT, I'm sure, is going to bring some of his clout with some of his sponsors and stuff to the game. And we're going to grow it from there. But the event is on Fishing Chaos. It's live. You can go enter it now. All you have to do is purchase the ticket for the month you want to fish. I actually set up a ticket on mine for all 4. So if you want to sign up for all 4 at one time, you can click the all 4, and it's $55 versus 15 times 4. So you save $5. And if those 2 knuckleheads want to do the same thing, I can set that ticket up for them.
That's a good idea.
Well, so that's the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series. You basically click that register button, and when you do, you'll see a list of tickets. Obviously, you'll have to log in, but you'll see a list of tickets, and then you go in there and you sign up for the events you want to sign up for. But it's pretty straightforward. You go to Fishing Chaos, you click on Trail Club, you'll see kayak bass fishing, and then the Knucklehead Bass Fishing banner is right there. I'll actually share a link to that and post it in the description box of this video once we're not live anymore. I'll talk
about it. I'll talk about it and explain it a little bit more on Friday and my Friday Night Live.
And then we're going to start fleshing out the details section with what the prizes are from each sponsor or each YouTuber, and bringing on the sponsors and slowly but surely build this thing out. So, but for all of you guys that have been saying, we want an event series that isn't so damn expensive, isn't uber competitive, that I don't have to fish against all the biggest hammers in the world.
Yep.
And I always hear this one, hey, what would it take to come fishing with you? Hey, well, for now, you can do that. That's one way. Two, you can actually just come to the fan fish off for the meet and greet in Huntsville Veterans Day weekend. But you can also book one of us two knuckleheads for guided trips. Now, my page is set up on Fishing Chaos, and Gene's is about this close to being done. So, Randy, if you want to bring that up, you kind of show how it works. If you just go to Fishing Chaos.
Randy, go to the upper left-hand corner, show them how to find the.
Yeah, you click on charters, and then once you click on charters, you just scroll down until you see the one that says Chad. Yeah, you see the one that says Chad Hoover Fishing, just like that. Click on it, and then if you go down to my calendar, there are basically all the book dates that are either booked or I have like trade shows or filming are all blocked out. And as you get into the spring, there's some really juicy, charter dates that are available. I've got the different trip types down there, and Gene's page will pretty much look exactly like this. The other cool thing about this is if you don't have a kayak, I actually have the kayaks that you need. So if you scroll down to the bottom, there are the vessels. When you click on the event, you can add the vessel to the event. So I've got all the different models of kayaks that I'm going to offer. I am going to be setting up a multi-kayak demo ticket to where if you say, hey, man, I'd love to just come try all your kayaks out. I am going to charge for it because it's a pain in the butt to get all those kayaks over to the water, but you'll be able to pay a flat fee, get a group of guys together. I'll bring or gals or whatever together, and I'll set up 6, 8, 10 kayaks and do a private demo for anybody that wants to do it. And that's going to be another thing that I can do to tell these sponsors what I'm giving back to them so that they donate more product so that I can give more to these veterans causes. So that's kind of all like interconnected. And one of the other things that I decided to do based on a recommendation from a friend, who's also been a follower is if you go back up a little bit, Randy, there is a multi-day trip that includes river fishing and camping. So if you want to do a river fishing overnight camping trip, so basically we fish a full day, then we camp, and then we fish the whole next day, then that trip is available. I actually think it's the best value because it's basically everything included. It's called what I call show up and bow up. I say in the description box that you need to bring your own camping equipment, but that's really kind of a disclaimer. If you want your own specific stuff because you're anal about your camping setup, you can bring your own, but I will have the basic stuff for everybody to camp. We're going to offer tent camping and hammock camping, and we got some juicy places between the rivers around North Alabama. And so those all going to be fun. There's a lot of dates available, so go book if you want to go fishing, and all the different trip types are on there. The availability is on there. And I imagine that this spring is going to book up pretty dang on fast once I start promoting this on social. So I'm announcing it here first. So if any of you guys want to snatch up some of those spring, pre-spawn, into spawn, and post-spawn dates, it's probably not a bad idea. I'm only guiding on Guntersville and the associated tributaries and Wheeler and the associated tributaries. Gene's probably going to be guiding both in this area because he fishes over here a lot, and also over in his area in Georgia. So
nope.
Not giving up your honey holes, huh?
I'm not. Okay. I can't give up my honey hole. I have too many friends.
Okay. Well, personally, I'm guiding on Wheeler and on Guntersville, and then the associated rivers. But
I'm doing a Guntersville, Wheeler, and Wilson.
Okay, cool. I'm going to leave Wilson alone because I think Wilson is one of the best kept secrets, and I'll tell you how to go fish it. I'm just not guiding on it personally because it's one of my honey holes, like Gene said, and so I got to keep something for myself. Yeah. I really want to lean heavily towards the river stuff because the river is the most fun for me. It's also the most remote and the most rewarding and the most beautiful part of North Alabama. But I got a ton of Gucci spots that we can go to in the backwaters of Wheeler and some of the backwaters in Guntersville, some of the main honey, community holes that everybody knows. I'm not going to be giving up anybody's juice that has showed me spots over the years, but I can tell you this. I can't guide you if you want to fish in KBF competition on that body of water. So you got to make sure you read the rules. So if you read the rules and you try to book me for a guided trip, so I'm going to show you how to fish the lake that you're competing on, make sure you're complying with the KBF rules, because you can't call me back and ask me for a favor. Hey, man, I didn't know I was breaking the rules if I don't know you're fishing the tournament. So you got to make sure that you stay in compliance with all that crap. So,
yep.
There's a couple things on your page that is unique. So you have a virtual seminar that's on here. So explain that a little bit, and also your in-depth electronics clinic and your rigging.
So the in-depth electronics clinic is basically, I'll take you from how to put it on your boat and help you do it, because I've got a workshop over at the new HQ, and then we'll go out and spend 2 or 3 hours on either the Tennessee River right here by the headquarters or over at that private lake. So it's kind of like a Gucci trip, but we're going to go out and I'm going to show you what things look like, how to set your settings up. Here's how to use structure scan. After you find something on structure scan, here's how to switch to 2D. Here's how active target works. Here's how to set it up. Basically, those are more, if that's all you want out of the trip is to get better with your electronics. I've got some places that I can take you and just show you, here's what this looks like. Here's what it looks like on a graph. Here's what it looks like on 2D. Here's what it looks like on DSI. Here's what it looks like on structure scan. You know, Gene and I both are really good at using electronics. It's kind of hard to talk about on video unless you're like Johnny from Fishing with the Moment, who wants to spend 752 hours editing one 20-minute video. But it's really easy to teach in person. And then the one-on-one seminar, that was actually a recommendation from a friend. A guy called me up and has become a friend over the years and asked me about tournament fishing. And then he said, dude, you could charge for this. And I was like, I know, but he goes, no, but if you're going to dedicate that amount of time and block it out on your schedule, you should. And so what that virtual seminar is anything you want it to be. But it's basically you're getting my time for an hour, hour and a half. And you want to learn more about getting sponsored, I can teach you that. You want to learn more about finding fishing spots, I can teach you that. You want to do a one-on-one lake breakdown where we jump on a Zoom call and I bring up Navionics and break a lake down for you, I can do that. So it's basically just saying, here's another way for me to generate revenue, give a percentage of it to charity, and connect with my fans, friends, followers. I hate the freaking word fans. It's just so weird to me. But I get it. You know what I'm saying? And so my community is like a family, and most of us are like a family. But the word fan is what it is. So it's something that I've been told people want, you know. And so I'm offering it, you know, and if you want it, great. If you don't, there's no reason to hate on it. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't like it, don't do it. You know.
And then one more question real quick about your guiding page here. The voucher for the vets, is that a vet that you got, or is that something we're willing to give to somebody else?
So here's what that is. That is basically a 50% discount on a guided trip, but you can't buy it for yourself. That is you buying a voucher and sending that to another veteran. So if you buy a voucher for a vet and you say, I want to treat you to a day of fishing with Chad Hoover. And by the way, I am going to toot my own horn a little bit. It is a treat, because even if we don't catch a damn fish, we're going to have a good time. You're going to leave with your stomach hurting from laughing so hard. In most cases, I'm going to bring you back to the campsite. We're going to grill. Like, I want this to be like real and be fun. I'm going to cover a lot of the snacks and drinks because I've got relationships with some of those companies like First Form and Carnivore Crisps and things like that. And I've also become a pretty damn cook since I got divorced, because I've had to. And now that I'm doing the carnivore diet myself, I've dialed it in. Gene's come down here and I've cooked for him in the camper. And, you know, when you guys came, JT, the duo, the Kreitz, they took over and did the cooking. So I just got to sit back, but they're actually going to be at the fish camp, and they're going to be smoking food for the people that come to the fan fish off and come to the Knucklehead Championship and the Hero Cup and all that other good stuff. But yeah, so that voucher for a vet is that you're buying a trip and you're giving that voucher to a vet for them to claim a fishing trip. So basically you buy that voucher, that gives you a code. Then you send that code to a veteran, and then they go back in, pick the date they want, and claim that trip. So
let's say somebody's just wanting to be a blessing to somebody else and you've got somebody in mind. Is that like something they can reach out to you and talk to you about?
Yep, they can. And they can also book a trip. And in the comment section, they can say, this trip was booked for someone else. I want the veterans thing to be honor system as much as I possibly can. It's not just a discount for anybody that has served. By the way, you do get $50 off of any trip as a KBF member. So you get your money back on one trip. And then I'm doing some other members only benefits stuff and giving those trips away. I'll be the first to admit that over the years I've done giveaway trips and they've been a nightmare for the fans or the person that won it to claim it. But now that I'm locked down in North Alabama, I'm settled in, I'm not traveling to every event like I did last year, and I'm going to basically be out on the water 300 plus days and have everything dialed in. It's going to be a lot easier. And more importantly, once you win that trip, you're going to go in and claim it. So that date's yours and it's locked and it's on my calendar. And we don't have to constantly go back and forth trying to align our schedules, which is always like historically been the problem. So if you're watching this live stream and you've ever won a trip from me and we've never been able to coordinate or something happened, 90% of the time, I've just given the person an equal value in like a product, like a Torpedo motor or a kayak or something, and they've been really happy. But if for some reason something slipped through the crack, reach out to me. I'll send you a voucher. You can claim the trip and we'll go ahead and lock that in and you can come down and get the full guide experience. And it's going to be fun, man. We got some good stuff lined up for 23. But thanks for asking that question. And thanks for pointing out that someone else asked it, Randy. But the voucher for vets that's a way for you to buy that trip for a veteran. And we got the folks at Jackson Kayak to give us Jackson Kayak reached out and said, hey, we have a blue sky that we can donate to you for what you're doing. But what can you do with it? I said, let me call you back. I called Duke from Catch and I said, Duke, you guys got the Mad Hatter Lab up there. You've got the Orange County choppers of kayak fishing. If I get a blue sky, can I bring it up to you and we figure out a way to put little fold down ramps on the back of it, roll a wheelchair onto it, mount either a motor guide or a Minn Kota or something that's got spot lock on the front, and then basically roll a wheelchair onto it and lock it in place. And then when we go out on a fishing trip, I can put that person on that boat. That's the only fishing kayak on the market, kayak that in my opinion can 100% be, I would not worry about somebody being in a wheelchair on it. And then all that person's got to do is fish. I sit there and control their boat with the remote control. And so I gave away the Autopilot 120 to this guy, Chris Riley, who's already here in Huntsville. I'm going to meet for dinner and then he's going to come out and pick it up tomorrow. But I'm going to get another one because I took a veteran fishing this year and I watched him struggle. And I'm not going to throw the person's name out there, but I said, hey man,
Matt,
what if I just controlled your boat for you? He's like, what do you mean? And I said, what if I just controlled the boat? And this was the best day of my year in 2022. It was actually something that gave me the turning point when I was at the lowest of low, the most depressed I was of the year, all that. I went over to him in my kayak and I got the remote from him. And the rest of the day, all I did was follow him in my kayak and use the remote. And I'd move him into position. And then I'd be like, all right, man, you see that tree right there on the shore? You see that little block rock? Cast up as close to that as you can. Let it hit the bottom and scoot it. And now wait. And I'd see the line moving. I'm like, you got to fish. Set the hook. He'd look back. I'm like, set the hook. You reel down, set the hook. And we only caught like 7 or 8 fish. But we had caught no fish before that because he was struggling to manage the rod, manage the boat, pick up the paddle, do all that other stuff. And so I've got to give a big shout out to Ryan Lilly from Old Town. I told him about it and he was like, we'll get you another Old Town. And I thought it was going to take like months. I had an Old Town the next week, 53-foot trailer pulling up to my campsite, dropped off a MK 106. That one, though, you got to use the throttle, and I think it's going to be a great asset. But when I told him about that, he's like, we'll send you another Autopilot, provided that that's what you're using it for, and we'd love to support that. So the ability to have companies that know that I'm also working with other companies like Jackson Kayak saying, we're going to give you a Blue Sky and we're going to convert that into a wheelchair accessible fishing kayak. And then Old Town saying, we'll give you another autopilot so that you can have the ability for veterans that can't pedal or paddle to be able to control their boat. Or again, if they can't control the boat, I can. I can't wait to get a vet in a boat during the spawn, motor them up to a spot, put the power pole down for them and say, there's a 9-pounder right there in front of your kayak. Like, to me, that's going to be the ultimate. So big shout out to, and honestly, man, everybody, New Canoe, Crescent, Wilderness Systems, the response from the kayak fishing community, manufacturing community, has just been unbelievable. I know how blessed I am to be able to pick up the phone and call the president or the CEO of every major kayak manufacturer and say, hey, what would it take to get one of your boats so I'll do a YouTube video to promote it. And just so you guys know, that's the return on investment. I create a lot of content to help promote them. They give me the product. So you guys share that content because it helps me help them help us. And it's just been an unbelievable year. 2022 was the best, worst year ever. It was great and it sucked at the same time. It was like one hell yeah and one kick in the junk after another for me. Got my windows knocked out at that seminar series over there at Westbrook, and I said to myself, I'm not going to say it can't get any worse. And I'm glad I didn't, because I went to see my family in Georgia, and my little niece was playing on me all day the whole time I was there. And I come home and got pink eye for a week and a half, and my dang eye was swole shut. I woke up every morning looking like Adrian. And it's still kind of like closed, but I'm just hoping 23 is better. But I think all the crap that happened in 22 has just done nothing but set the table for a really good year.
There's no hoping, brother. This is going to be a good year.
Yeah. And so, again, the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, the Catch 22, the Trail Series Championship, Challenge Series Championship, and Pro Series Championship, $100,000 in guaranteed payouts. It's the first time we've done that since the 2018 National Championship, when Dwayne Taft won $100,000 in a KBF event. I know there's a lot of people that throw knives and there's a lot of crap out there, and I know I've screwed up a bunch, but here's the deal. We're trying to set the bar, and we're trying to now reset the bar. I took my eye off the prize for a long time. Well, I'm back in the game. I'm back in all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed, and Sam, like JT pointed out at the beginning, is really helping me get organized, creating processes and procedures for everything to where nothing falls through the cracks. Even we talked about an hour today about a way to improve the payout process, and it was like, oh my God, that's genius. Why the hell didn't we think of that before? But the problem is I've just been overwhelmed with taking on too much crap, and it's my fault because I didn't say no.
Amen.
I've just had too much crap going on at any given time to be able to do what I need to do and what's the most important. So being able to dial this stuff in. But yeah, 25,000 guaranteed for the Trail Series Championship, 25,000 guaranteed for the Challenge Series Championship, and then 50,000 guaranteed for the Pro Series Championship. You could go to that event right now. You could start fishing KBF, never fished KBF before, and you could basically leave that event.
Just wait till Chad gets that Just for Men sponsorship. And he shares with Randy.
No.
I'll just borrow some of Gene's, because there's no way his beard's that black.
Yeah, it is. My brother gets mad at me all the time.
He borrows it from Jason Day from Ohio State.
My little brother looked at me at Christmas. He said, how is it that I'm more gray than you? I'm like,
well, Gene's got one of them gray tip beards, though. If he lets it grow out about another quarter inch, then the whole thing's gray. It's weird. He just got that black roots underlay,
So let's do this real quick. JT, pitch your show, your channel that you got going on right now.
Yes.
Fish with Gramps on YouTube, and I'll be live with the Fluke Master tomorrow night. We'll catch up and see what he's been up to.
We'll get to make fun of Chad for an hour. It's gonna be fun.
Of course. Sure, he'll be in the
tell
chat.
us what you're doing on Friday, man.
Friday For you, Matt, or JT, or me?
For you, Gene.
Oh, I'm kicking off. It's been a year since I've done Friday Night Lives. Now, Friday Night Live was the first live fishing show on YouTube. I did it for 4 years and stopped doing it last year when I found out it was killing my algorithms. Well, YouTube fixed that issue, and I'm rocking and rolling with them starting this Friday. Every Friday that I can do it, I'm going to be doing Friday Night Lives again, which is basically just an hour of question and answer. And it is a blast. We usually have 200 to 300, 400 people on at a time, and it's a party. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Chad, what you got going on?
Same thing, man. I am actually headed up to Nashville this weekend for the Big Rock sports show. So if you guys are in Nashville and you're going to that show, I'll see you walking the floor. I know this knucklehead over here is like still trying to figure out if he's going. Booked in for the end of the month. I'll be in Florida. I'm basically going to leave here the middle of the month. I'm going to go down to Florida, and I'm going to fish and camp and grind and just have a good time before the trail series kickoff and the 10 Invitational in Polk County. If you guys are interested in jumping in on that, registration's open. We're still got, I think we got 25 people entered. The first 50 get a discount on the all-in early bird, and we'll draw a winner to get your whole entry fee back out of that first 50. So go sign up for that. I'm going to Indiana Sports Boat Travel and RV Show at the middle of February through the end of February, and that knucklehead's going with me. So we'll be there. And what we're trying to do is really support these trade shows that have made this major significant commitment to kayak fishing. And so they call it the Heartland Kayak Fishing Expo. It really started with Moving Water Outfitters, started out with their booth and then a little bitty pool. Then it went to their booth and like 12 other vendors' booths on a giant pool. Then they took over some more space. And I think Sun City Kayak, which is the Hobie dealer in that area, is now bringing in their own pool. And that entire hall has turned into kayak fishing. So both Gene and I are going to be there both weekends doing a lot of seminars. I'm actually going to do the live stream for the Trail Series Awards for Lake Murray from the Expo Hall in Indianapolis. So awesome. Double dipping. Gene's not fishing tournaments this year, so he's just going to come up there, do the show. We're going to be crashing with the Krites. They're going to probably be kicking us out after about 3 days. But we're going to have a good time up there and have some fun, break bread with, one of the biggest or definitely fastest growing kayak fishing states in the country with Indiana. I tuned in last night to the Grubby Live, and the amount of work that Ryan and Cole and Jim have all put into growing that series has been outstanding. And I think that's a really good model for, moving forward to get those low barrier to entry, type events similar to what we're trying to do with the Knucklehead, bass fishing series. I'd love to turn the Knucklehead bass fishing series into something that where just a regular blue collar, got a regular job. I'm not saying this as kind of an insult or to put anybody down, but I hear people say it to me all the time. Do something for us regular, working men, working women. I'm like, okay, but I'd love to have that series turn into something where we could put life-changing money out there for people that come down and make a team and they go home at $25,000 a piece and do $100,000, payout. So if we could
imagine if somebody who starts out bank fishing makes it to the winning team, just bang. That would be so awesome.
Yeah. That'd definitely be sick. I'll put it to you this way. If you join my team and you win from the bank, I'll make sure you got a kayak to use in the tournament. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because I got a pile.
Yeah, I'll be bringing one as well.
And I think all these other knuckleheads can do the same thing. It's going to be interesting to see how Rudd responds to being called out, but y'all be sure to go light up his comment section. Use the hashtag knucklehead and spell it the way we spell it, KUNKLED. I use the LED at the end because it's like a light emitting device. And for a lot of us, it takes a little bit longer for the light to come on. So therefore we do the LED at the end. That's a good way to help you guys remember it. And then just remember that you are the core focus as a knucklehead. And so that's why we put the underline under the letter U. So in summary, sign up for the Catch 22 Challenge. It's going to be a good time this year. It's going to be fun. I want to raise 4 times what we raised last year for Mission 22 for Heroes on the Water this year. The Ambassador Series Championship is going to be a good time. The Trail Series, obviously, you've got to qualify for that by finishing in the top 25% of any of the Trail Series events this year. So check out the schedule right on the Kayak Bass Fishing homepage. And if you want to go on a guided trip with me or that knucklehead over there, I got to learn this backwards pointing thing. Like I got to put a sign over here or something. That
I just point with one finger.
Then check out Fishing Chaos and get yourself signed up.
Well,
right.
Gentlemen, I definitely appreciate you guys coming on the show tonight. There's a lot going on in 2023. I wish you all the best of luck this year, and also excited to see what's going to happen with you guys on your channels. I'm going to be watching for sure and probably trying to pick up a couple tricks. Chad, always a privilege of being with you on the show. Again, happy New Year to everybody.
By the way, what's on your hat? What's on your hat?
That is the AFCO hat right there.
Oh, okay, sweet. That's a nice looking hat.
Yeah.
No,
I like
this one is.
I don't like Gene.
This one right here. Go Dogs.
That's an
If it would have been green, it would be even better.
That's an emergency toilet if you really need it. That hat flips upside down and it makes a perfect emergency.
Maybe you missed the last couple of games. I don't know, but
hey, I tell you what, you guys almost got that gotta go from Ohio.
This is the way I saw it. This is the way I saw it. Ohio played really pretty. We won ugly.
Well, there's that.
You know,
Yeah.
We played an ugly game, but still won.
W is a W. It don't matter. But
Yep. That's all matters.
I am equal parts glad that Georgia made it and glad Ohio State didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm in the Big Ten, so yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm an LSU fan, and so I love to hate Ohio State. You know what I mean? So cool.
Yep.
All right.
I mean,
Love you guys.
We don't
Thanks
play
for
football
tuning
in
in.
Indiana. It's all about basketball.
Definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. This knucklehead up there, this knucklehead over here. And we'll see y'all next week. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Later.
Later. Hey guys, I'm Chad Hoover with Kayak Bass Fishing. If you're looking to get in on the exciting sport of kayak fishing yourself, check out kayakbassfishing.com. Yeah. Boom! Oh, yes. What a freaking code. So whether you want to find out more about competitive kayak fishing and kayak fishing tournaments or just looking to learn more to make yourself a better angler, head over to kayakbassfishing.com and join today.